Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the second annual Women's Leadership Awards for Malibu. And we're excited, so excited about our winners. We picked a theme of evolving for success, which we all debated long and hard for what we've all gone through over the last year. And certain people stood out to us that they evolved and they carried on in a great way. And we're going to hear from them how they did that. And I first want to tell you our last year's winners. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Who's not with us today is Lieutenant Jennifer Situ. She was so wonderful, won the Andy Cohen Safety Award last year. Was really the year before, but last year kind of disappeared, didn't it? Because she had done so many great things, but one of them was Pacific Coast Highway was the safest it had been in years. I see Jenny Campbell. She won the Emergency Preparedness Award for all the work she did with the long-term recovery group. And Yvonne de la Rosa of 99 High Tide, she won Women Breaking Barriers, which she broke a glass ceiling in many ways and was really fascinating. It's good to see Casey. Hi, Casey. Casey Ernest, who won the Community Award for all she did after the Woolsey fire. We all know how wonderful she is. And Kathy Eldon, she won Women in Philanthropy for all the guidance she gives to young people to express who they are and with creative visions. And Dr. Milika Simpson won our Women in Health Award. She's our UCLA Malibu branch. And last but not least, Heidi Bernard won our Lifetime Legacy Award. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Heidi, who used to be director of the chamber, was it 40 years ago, Heidi? No, I'm sorry, 10 years ago, something like that. But she's done everything, and I really don't know what I'd do without her guidance. She is the executive director of Crest Associates at Pepperdine, and she has just helped everybody everywhere. We gave her the Lifetime Legacy Award for all she did the first year. But now we're moving on to some of our new people. Oh, I want to also thank Sean Calaras. Is it Sean Calaras for our audio visual department at Pepperdine of producing this today. Because I, as a sole women business CEO, I do need to reach out sometimes for a man's help. You know, most of the time it's just all the women around us. And I want to tell you who our board members are. First, I want to say Mayor Paul Grisante, who supported the Chamber of Commerce for years. He just became mayor Monday night, and congratulations to Paul. He's head of our Government Affairs Committee. And we will be holding a lot more events. Actually, you think he'd be too busy, but Paul's never too busy to help. We have Chris Weisner of Vivid Candy, who's head of our marketing department, and he's just the greatest. I know you all know him. Earl Clarkson joined us on the board of directors. He runs Vintage Grocers, a great person. And then there's the inimitable Professor Sherry Davis of Santa Monica College. I actually have to read her title. She's not just a professor, but she's director of public policy at Santa Monica College and more. And thank you, Sherry, for all your support. Lisa Osiello of My Best Self Coach. She is a wonderful coach that helps people by working with horses and bring out your natural best. We have from Pepperdine Law Division, Richard Eldridge on our board. We have John Johannesson of Johannesson Construction Company. And Howard Lim of How Creative. He's helping us with our branding. Another wonderful person, if you haven't heard him speak, a motivational speaker. Jennifer Morgan of Most Occupational. Do you all know what that is? It's Morgan Occupational Speech and Therapy. She works with children to give them a big head start, learning how to communicate. And Beth Mohudin, who's been on the board for, was on the board for years and has come back again. And she's just so wonderful of Swiss Malibu Travel. And then you all know Lenice Soren, Serenity Rocks Malibu. And Scott Wagenseller of Gates Security and Malibu Patrol, who's heading up our emergency safety department. We're going to be starting a big program to help get products in the hands of everyone. And then, of course, there's Ian Roven, the Malibu lawyer, who's our master of ceremonies, who's just been, if there's a man that uplifts women, this is the guy. Thank you, Ian, so much for everything you've done and do. And then I could say last but not least is Danielle Dutcher of the address. She's our chair. Danielle, she won Best Business in Los Angeles 2 years in a row with the address. And she has been my rock. She's been chair for the last year, but she's been standing by me for years now on the board. Just a steady hand and a great mind. And I can't say enough about her. So let me introduce you to Danielle Dutcher.
Thanks, Barbara. Thanks, everyone, for being here. My name is Danielle Dutcher, and I'm the chairperson of the Malibu Chamber of Commerce. A very special thank you to Barbara Bruderlin, our CEO, for your tireless efforts to keep the Chamber and Malibu business community strong through thick and thin. And thank you to our Women's Leadership Awards Committee, which is Barbara, Beth, Ian, Kayla, and our committee chair, Heidi Bernard. This event is extremely special. All the leaders we are recognizing this year are truly remarkable and come from diverse experience. Some found their calling through unthinkable disaster and tragedy, while others through education and business savvy. All, however, have evolved for success. Ian Roven, our immediate past chairperson, will be the MC for this event. Please, ladies, go easy. He's fragile. Ian, take it away.
Thank you, Danielle. This event is being recorded for quality assurance. Closed captioning brought to you by Sean from Pepperdine IT. Thanks, Sean. Hi, my name's Ian. I'm the immediate past chair of the Malibu Chamber of Commerce. I'm a local son of Malibu who came up through the Malibu school system and even found a way to graduate. Through the guidance of women mentors, many of whom are in attendance now, I got into the school of my dreams, graduated from law school, and founded my law practice here in my hometown. I mean, I became a lawyer because every court really needs a jester. I was asked to MC by our current chairperson, Danielle, because, well, she's a woman, and considering the circumstances, I did what she tells me to do. Also, she said the ratio of women to men at this event would be about 50-1. So here I am. In all seriousness, this year is a little different for me than the last time I emceed this event. Now, I'm a father to, you guessed it, a girl. I'm a proud girl dad. Women leaders have been extremely important throughout my life, and they are exponentially more important to me now. I look forward to my daughter Luna growing up and appreciating the hard work, dedication, care, love, and selflessness of the remarkable women we are going to hear from today. Thank you to the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue, International Protective Services, Pepperdine University, and Wells Fargo for making this event happen. At this time, it is my honor to introduce to you Angela Swan, who will be speaking on behalf of our event sponsor, Wells Fargo.
Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Swan, and on behalf of our local Wells Fargo employees, I want to thank you for taking part of your day to celebrate the partnerships that truly make our community a better place to live. Wells Fargo has a long history of supporting women as an employer and a provider of financial services, as well as through our engagement with organizations that address issues important to women in our communities and for our customers and employees. Now, women have unique perspectives and life experiences that can shape our view of the world and the way we make decisions. And though we are making strides to increase the number of women in leadership across industries, we can do more to uplift and empower women so that they can realize their full potential. At Wells Fargo, our Women's Team Member Network is the largest employee resource group in our company, With over 25,000 members nationwide, the Women's TMN connects dynamic women from across business lines to share ideas, knowledge, and access to career development and growth resources, all of which are critically important components to mentor-mentee relationships. Now, of course, during this time, COVID-19 continues to create unprecedented economic challenges for our small business customers and for our entire nation. As a company, we're focused on fostering an inclusive recovery from COVID-19 and strengthening the small business sector for the long term. Our goal is to help as many small businesses as we can and in turn support our communities overall. Now, here in Malibu this past year, women have been at the forefront of the response to COVID-19. We saw Casey Ernest of the Boys and Girls Club just immediately step up to support with delivering food and other essential services and then further expanding their mental health services. I even recall in the early days of the pandemic seeing the Malibu Farmers Market with booths way more than 6 feet across and admiring how Deborah Bianco and the Cornucopia Foundation took steps to not just follow the guidelines, but be the leaders in how we respond to the pandemic. And during a tumultuous and truly record-breaking year in Malibu real estate, Susie Manners guided her clients toward the right home decisions for them in a very special community. I know the Malibu Times is in a lot of our hands, definitely in my inbox every day. Karen York's publications are truly part of the fabric of this community and how we share news and our experiences. But this is the spirit of Malibu, women seeing opportunities in their community and stepping up to lead the way in supporting others. And at Wells Fargo, we're proud of the work that we do, and we're proud to join with the Malibu Chamber of Commerce in recognizing and honoring the amazing women leaders in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela, for your kind words and for reversing some of those charges on my account. Dr. Bernice Ledbetter is the Dean of Students and Alumni Affairs at the Pepperdine Grazia Dio Business School. She serves as the founding director for the Center for Women in Leadership and is a practitioner lecturer in organizational theory and management. Dr. Ledbetter is a recognized expert on advancing women in leadership and a frequent keynote speaker to international audiences, industry groups, and large organizations, including those in the Fortune 500. Dr. Ledbetter is a recipient of the 2019 Trailblazer Award for Leadership from Leadership California for her work in advancing women in leadership. Please welcome Dr. Bernice Ledbetter.
Thank you, Ian, so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to join you in this very important celebration today. Honoring women in your community. I can't think of something that would be more important than this topic. So I especially want to say special thanks to my colleague Heidi Bernard, and also to Barbara and Danielle, and of course Ian, for their gracious leadership in this important endeavor today. So I trust that you can see my slides. So unless I hear otherwise, I'll assume that that's working okay. So I want to begin by sharing a quote from George Graziadio. He is the benefactor for the Graziadio Business School. So I'm getting a message that my screen sharing is paused. Just want to make sure that we're all together, the same place at the same time. All right, that should work. There we go. All right. So George Graziadio was, he's the person who founded our business school, and he was famous for saying, today, not tomorrow. And by this, he meant that anything that can be done today should be done today and not postponed for tomorrow. And I'm so sorry, when I hit the advance button, I get a black screen, Sean. I don't know what that means. So it worked in the rehearsal. So sorry. Let me stop sharing and see what's going on here. It's hard to fly without sight. Okay. I'm so sorry, Sean. I'm not able to see the screen at all for some reason. Perhaps if I just leave it in this mode and don't put it in presentation mode, I'm so sorry for that. Perhaps that will work better. So George Gacciadillo, today, not tomorrow. And that's exactly how I feel about women in leadership. There's never been a more important time to advance women in leadership, and which is also to say there's never been a more important time to come alongside women and to support their evolution in the coming decades and years to come. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to share with you 3 thoughts related to evolving. The first has to do with evolving to meet the demands of a new workplace. The second is how do we evolve ourselves as leaders? And the third is how do we evolve our businesses? So on this first topic, I want to talk about the workplace that's coming and really is present right now. We've all experienced incredible change and risen to the occasion in magnificent ways. But these changes are not going to slow down by any means. And so the evolving workplace is going to require that we change our mental models. An author that I'm really fond of, Bob Johansen, wrote a book called The New Leadership Literacies, and he suggests that the future will reward clarity and punish certainty. And I love that comment because I think it really captures what the essence of adaptability is. It's really about seeking clarity rather than certainty. To be specific, Bob talks about how we think about our mental models. And really, a mental model is simply a way of capturing how do we organize reality? What is the data that we take in when we make decisions? And how do we go about dealing with that uncertainty that's going to be present and is present in our world and in our workplaces? And so we can think about that in a couple of ways. One of the ways to think about it is to understand that a lot of times we tend to put things in boxes. And so that process of putting things in boxes obviously has a lot of liability because it causes us to miss important information. So as we move forward in our world, what will be important is to shift our thinking from boxes to full spectrum thinking. It will require us to understand the bigger picture and to take in much more data and information as we look to make decisions and understand what's happening in the world. I like to think about it as a radar screen. You know, if we were in a flight control tower, we would be looking at a screen and we would see lots of dots of all the different activity happening. And actually what's interesting is that research has shown that that's how women's brains work. We see things as a radar screen. Now, we do sometimes put things in boxes, but we tend to see the big picture. And so really what this means is that we are so well equipped to lead in the future, to evolve our leadership and to work well in an evolving work context. Bob Johansen said that full spectrum thinking is the ability to seek clarity and understanding across gradients of possibility while resisting the temptation to make premature categorizations or even to arrive at false certainty. I love that idea of gradients of possibility. And as I've suggested, I think women are very, very good at this. I also want to share some ideas about how women will need to evolve their leadership for success. These are just four of many areas that the workforce that is evolving will show us that the importance of these four areas are really critical for evolving for success. The first has to do with power. So the whole notion of power is actually shifting. Old power works like currency, like those who have it can acquire more power. You know, it's like a buying power. While those who have less power could use the little that they had to get a bit more. Old power is sort of fading away. New power is more like a current. Whether we think of water or electricity, new power flows easily and can gain momentum. It's dispersed across many. It is open and participatory. It's peer-driven, and like water or electricity, it's most forceful when it surges. So the goal with new power is not to hoard it, but to channel it. The next area is equality. We've spent the last year really thinking a lot about this. And what's interesting working with students at Pepperdine, I know this already, that the younger people coming into the workforce really expect equality to exist in their workplaces and in society. It matters to them a great deal, so much so that they're really going to demand it. And so as leaders, as we evolve ourselves for success, we'll need to think about how we are especially attuned to creating equality. We already know that the rate of change is unbelievable. It's exponential. And so keeping up with that change is going to require a sense of grounding and a sense of purpose as well. And that's my fourth point. Business goals are shifting too towards purpose. It's really, really interesting. Businesses are learning to measure their success not only by profit or revenue, but also by purpose. And many of you may remember that back in August 19, the Business Roundtable, which is an organization that gathers senior leaders from the US, came out with a statement that was quite revolutionary for that group to elevate stakeholder interest to the same level as shareholder interest. That really represented a shift in our understanding of what is the goal of business. The goal of business is also to operate for purpose. I want to also touch on what women bring to the table, because I think this helps us also think about how we evolve our leadership. We know that women bring a number of different things. The first I want to comment on very briefly is team intelligence. There was actually a study done out of MIT that looked at the collective intelligence of a team, not necessarily the raw intellectual intelligence, but more social intelligence. And no surprise, the study found that teams that had a majority membership of women had a higher collective team intelligence. So one of the important aspects that women bring to the workplace and to leadership is increasing team intelligence. The second is increased profits. So we have a lot of data that suggests that when women are in top management positions in organizations, it creates as much as a 15% rise in profitability for those organizations. That's pretty incredible. There's lots of reasons to suggest that women tend to care about the ethics and the values of operating as a business. And that goes along with the next point, the next 2 points, that women in leadership tend to increase employee satisfaction and client satisfaction because they're attending to the needs of their employees and attending to the needs of their clients. So those satisfaction scores tend to go up. Women tend to be very, very strong at a particular kind of leadership style called transformational leadership, which is a very ethical, very motivating style of leadership. And so studies have been done extensively that suggest that women are especially adept at helping individuals to grow and develop through mentoring and coaching, but also challenging employees to be their best in the work that they do. And finally, women serve as important role models. This cannot be underestimated. There's also research that suggests that when particularly young people, young women, see a woman in a senior level position, she can begin to see herself in that possibility of rising to a level of senior leadership. However, if she doesn't see a woman in a position of leadership, she may never, ever aspire to do that. That's how important role modeling is. And so when you lead your businesses and you share your leadership in the community, you help young women to see what's possible. And that is incredibly important for their future goal setting. I want to think also too about evolving women's leadership for success, going into this world of change and shift in power and working from purpose also demands a certain set of skills and abilities from all of us. And these, I think, are very, very areas of great thought for us as women, because I think that these are areas where we can really add value in the marketplace. Because leaders of the future will need to set self aside. That's a way of saying quieting the ego, and also need to understand their value system and how their values inform their leading. Leaders of the future will also need to manage their thinking and emotions, We can think of this as having high emotional intelligence. Moreover, women and leaders of the future will need to understand how important human presence is. We've all gotten a glimpse of that in this past year when we've been at a distance. Because the smart machine age is coming and many things will be automated, human to human interaction will take on greater importance. And this will require leaders who are very adept at demonstrating engaged presence that brings meaningful interaction to people and is genuine and authentic and helps people to feel good about their contribution in the workplace. Along with this, the new workplace will require people and leaders who are emotionally connected to those around them. That's really about empathy. And finally, leaders of the future will engage in higher order thinking, the critical assessment of many variables, having cognitive agility, and the ability to recognize patterns while accounting for abnormalities and discerning how these seemingly dissonant entities are connected. So these are some of the things that leaders of the future will be especially successful if they can adopt these practices. And it's no small possibility that I think we as women are running ahead on this race to develop these capabilities. Finally, I want to just share briefly a thought about evolving your business, because as we move into this world that's going to be fraught with unpredictable change, we want to think about bending the arc of our businesses towards inclusion and equity and shared power and adaptation. We'll need to prepare ourselves as leaders to enable folks to experience trust and clarity and hope and compassion in the workplace. And so I think it's going to be important too for us to think about the purpose of our businesses. And when we do this, I think that we evolve ourselves and our businesses to address the evolving nature of the coming and present workplace. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share these few thoughts, and let me add my congratulations to the Women's Leadership Awardees today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ledbetter. Sorry. Would the owner of a white Prius please move your car? You're blocking the driveway. Okay, thank you. The Women in Philanthropy Award is given to a visionary woman who is not only successful in their respective field, but have focused on benefiting the Malibu community by creating a culture of service and philanthropy through their donations of time, talent, and resources. Since 1990, Avesta Carrara has been one of Malibu's most prized community members. Avesta's philanthropic nature is driven by the fact that she was blessed to have her sons benefit from the generous hearts of many parents at PTA and the Malibu Optimist Club. Being a single parent, raising remarkable young men, Avesta has dedicated herself to give back time and energy to the community. Avesta worked at Pepperdine the past 20 years, allowing her several opportunities to give back to her community. She also worked within the Malibu Chamber. Avesta, along with more than 50% of the community of Seminole Springs, lost their homes to the Woolsey Fire. In light of the unthinkable disaster, Avesta has gone above and beyond for her fellow neighbors who also lost their homes. When she is not volunteering, helping her neighbors, and giving everything of herself to better her community, she also volunteers with the Malibu Navy League. It is my great pleasure to present the award for Women in Philanthropy to Avesta Carrara.
Ian, thank you so much. I'm still waiting for the hair and makeup person that you promised. Thank you, everybody. Now more than ever, we need optimists and optimism. Our Malibu Optimist Service Club has done and continues to do so much for the youth in our community. Our service continues on the Little League field, an excellent in education program, and in the youth recognition for deeds and tasks well done. All that brings us closer to that small town that we know and love. Malibu is a small town. We are the Mayberry by the Sea with a worldwide mystique. Nothing more unusual than that, right? As Ian said, I have been a single mom in Malibu since 1990. My sons Cody and Jesse went from kindergarten to Malibu High graduation here. And I have truly been blessed by the community fathers and mothers that helped me to guide my sons to become the men they are today. Along the way, I tried to teach them to give back by example, just as we had been given. There's such a richness and enlightenment in the gift of giving oneself in time, energy, and heart. Surely the funds are necessary and important for giving to our many programs like our Malibu College-bound student scholarships, essay contestant awards, oratorical contests, and for the sporting equipment that we provide to Camp Kilpatrick incarcerated youth. All super important to developing young minds and hearts. However, it is the individual youth that is often deeply spiritually benefited by the community appreciation of their efforts and good works. We are so proud of our mission and anxious to continue the good service and leadership inspired by our Malibu Optimist founders like Ron Merriman. I was feeling like I was undeserving of this very generous recognition because the past 2.5 years, I've been a bit grumpy since losing my home, pushing through the time, the inconvenience, and the frustration with the glacial pace with which things moved. Again, my spirit was raised up by other things, by new friendships and the humble Emerson definition of success. Planting gardens, helping with dog rescues, just helping a friend. And now I'm almost home, due in part to the uplifting gift of friendships while going through this life challenge. My beloved Pepperdine has also been so good to me through all of this, so I cannot go without singing its praises, and how our lovely Malibu community is blessed by these wonderful student, dedicated staff and faculty who lead by the motto, freely ye received, freely give. If you'll indulge me, I'd love to share with you the thing that lifts our Optimist members up, and that's our Optimist Creed, and it could be applied to everyone. So thank you for your indulgence. It goes like this. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person that you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. To think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the pure improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. I'm blessed to be in such lovely company. Catherine, Susie, Ken, Lisa, Cynthia, and Karen, congratulations to all your amazing life's work. And thank you so much for this wonderful recognition to the Malibu Chamber, Barbara, Heidi, and everyone. Thank you so much. It touches my heart.
Thank you, Avesta. Mitigating the impact from natural disasters is more important than ever. The Disaster Recovery Award is given to an individual who has demonstrated an exceptional commitment to the residents in Malibu during the time of need. This award goes to another Seminole Springs resident, Dr. Cynthia Cornell Novak. Dr. Novak is a retired, accomplished Pepperdine professor. The Woolsey Fire pulled Dr. Novak out of a travel and grandchildren-filled retirement and into action. With grace and fortitude, she generated teamwork and leadership. She partnered with numerous recovery angel benefactors, including Evelyn Weber with the Malibu Foundation, Pastor John Irwin and Conejo Cares, Bob Bland and Conejo Compassion Coalition, Dawkins Hodges and Jessica Lawson from Los Angeles Habitat, and Jenny Campbell, our past award winner, whose long-term disaster recovery group compassionately assisted dozens of Seminole families through disaster care case managers. Her neighbors and friends describe her as an asset, a visionary, a team member, and a formidable, caring, and determined neighbor. Dr. Novak describes her belief about the past 2.5 years by this African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I am honored to introduce the Disaster Recovery Award to Dr. Cynthia Cornell Novak.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you. It is with equal surprise, humility, and great appreciation that I accept this award. And I wish the picture behind me had all of the people who have collaborated with me over the last 30 months. It's almost been exactly 30 months ago that the Woolsey fire tore through our beautiful Santa Monica Mountains, destroying 96,949 acres and destroying 1,643 buildings. 110 of those were homes at Seminole Springs, that historic community that's pictured behind me. I can only describe those first few months with one word, and that's overwhelm. We were overwhelmed by what needed to be done, by the sorrow, the grief, the need, the loss, people coming to their spaces and trying to find some hint of their past, a photo, some piece of their mother's china, a piece of jewelry. It was overwhelming to be in the clubhouse and to see day after day deliveries from people bringing more and more what I can only describe as stuff. And much of it was needed. We needed food and water and clothes, but it all came together and it wasn't sorted and it wasn't organized. And for my daughters will tell you, my borderline OCD need to be organized. It was very hard day after day to try to sort through that. There's a great saying, when you can't see where you're going, ask someone who's been there before you. The problem with those first few months is that we didn't know as a community what we didn't know. We didn't know where to go because we didn't know what to do next. And then Malibu's very own superstar, Evelyn Weber, called a meeting at Seminole on March 3rd, 2019, and she brought her vision, her sense of peace and passion, her experience with other foundations and with Katrina recovery. She brought resources. And for the next 30 months, these last almost 3 years, Evelyn has been what Dr. Ledbetter described. She has been to me a mentor, a muse. She has been a role model. And I can say that her support has helped us at Seminole rebuild smarter with an eye towards sustainability and environmental and mental health. I know it's very risky to do shout outs when you're doing a short speech, but I have to say at that meeting on March 3rd, Ian mentioned Dawkins Hodges. Dawkins is the vice president of Los Angeles Special Programs for Habitat. This is a gracious, pragmatic, very wise man who took Seminole under his wing and connected us not just with resources for those who had lost their homes, but he also had an eye for the grieving of those whose homes remained but had suffered damage. And also at that March 3rd meeting, I met the force of nature, Jenny Campbell, who won this award last year. Jenny, also an angel benefactor, went forward from that meeting and brought together under one umbrella 70 or more organizations, all dedicated to recovery. And I have to say, again, Dr. Ledbetter's example of women who walk before us as models, that was Jenny. Sometimes in the middle of the night when I would have ideas, I jot them down and text to her thinking she'd get them in the morning. And she'd text me back, 5 minutes later. This is a dedicated, amazing, passionate woman who wants the best for the community. And there are so many others, and I appreciate Ian mentioning them, so I won't go over them again. Just one other, though, who made the commitment, because we all might, if there is a future disaster, I hope there is not, but if there is one, Pastor John Irwin, when he saw the devastation at Seminole Springs, made the commitment that he would walk with our community until we were back on our feet. And his words were, long after the media is gone, when the TV cameras are turned off, I will still be there at Seminole Springs. And as people around the country funneled money to him, he would turn around and ask Seminole, what is it you need? He filled our fire cabinets. He contributed to our playground, and he brings work crews periodically to help us. There are so many others who have been part of this recovery. The picture behind me depicts where we are now at Seminole. This was taken just a few days ago. There are 71 new homes out of the 110 that were lost. We have 58 families rehomed. And that is the hard work of a board, many of whom lost their own homes, but have worked tirelessly, and of a resident architect named George Kiosian, who's also worked with the board and with individuals. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity to reflect on how success has evolved. And I go back to that African proverb that Ian related. I think it is so important to remind ourselves we can go fast and go alone, but if we really want to go far, we have to go together. And that is what Woolsey schooled me in so well. Thank you so much for this award and for this time of reflection. Truly appreciated.
Thank you, Dr. Novak. That's truly an incredible image behind you. The Community Award recognizes a woman who has a track record of success and accomplishments by mentoring and supporting others in their profession, industry, or enterprise. Susan Manners exemplifies this to its fullest. Susan's friends say they look up to her for her inspiration and bringing new information to all of them, and always with a sense of humor. While raising her children, she continued to move forward, getting her real estate license and taking everything in stride. She is never knocked down. She continues on with passion, understanding, circumspect views, and a love of research. Susan is an adventurer who explores different places and then comes home and tries new artistic methods. She's an incredibly talented painter, sketch artist, and she even tried her hand at metallurgy. She is admired as a leader amongst friends and expands everyone's awareness in a lighthearted way. She worked tirelessly all year to bring an understanding of COVID-safe practices to all realtors, brokers, and clients in Malibu. She hosted a plethora of webinars and events and was a leader in a huge business sector. As a member of the Malibu Association of Realtors, thank you for all you do, down to the last email blast. Please welcome Susan Manners.
Thank you. What a nice introduction. Let me begin. Thank you to the Chamber directors, Barbara, sponsors, and everyone joining us here today. I'd like to thank the Academy. Oops, wrong show. Congratulations to all the winners. Thanks for the work you do. You are essential members of the community. In a small town that faces so many extreme challenges, you literally keep the heart of Malibu beating. My talk is less about COVID and the past year and more about the community I serve and love. A little shout out to my friends being presented with awards today. Congratulations, Avesta. You are a tower of strength. I'm so proud to call you a friend for 26 years. Special shout out to Karen York, one of my role models, a business associate, and it's impossible for me to picture Malibu without the vision, wit, and wisdom you provide. The Malibu community embraced my little family from the time we arrived and gave us everything we could hope for, so it's very fitting that I'm here to talk about community. I raised my two beautiful and successful children here. My son Justin is now a CFO, and my daughter Rebecca is a producer, powerhouse, and maybe the strongest, smartest, funniest woman I know. A great illustration of Malibu community spirit is the aunties, the strong women I met through Malibu Methodist Church and nursery school. The aunties have seen each other through quite a lot. We raised our kids together, and now 26 years later, some of our kids are having kids, and they attend Malibu Methodist Nursery School. So a little shout out to Kay Gabbard. She's our heart. Special credit to Auntie Diane Maleka Urban, a force of nature. Diane is a Malibu Dolphin Award winner for her contributions to the community, my hero and best friend. Diane got me my first job in Malibu when I didn't know anybody here. She's been there every step of the way. One of my favorite parts of giving back to this loving community is sharing my artwork and photography, as you mentioned, with organizations including the Chamber, Malibu Times, and the Malibu Pie Festival. 14 years ago, I was selected to run the Malibu Association of Realtors, and I really had no idea what that meant, but I said yes. I'm very fortunate to get to work with many of you, and it's a terrific way to give back to the community we all serve. I personally prefer to work behind the scenes with our amazing board of directors, committee chairs, and Laura Dowler, another role model who many of you know through her work at Waveside Community Church. I'm proud to share that realtors are the country's leading advocates for home ownership, fair housing, and private property rights. Realtors do approximately 2.5 times the average amount of community service. Look around the community and you'll see what I mean. Some of the realtors on our board of directors, and you know them, Paul Grisanti, who's now our mayor, who's the board land use chair, is terrific. And like you said, he's everywhere. I don't know how he finds the time. Ani Dermentian produced Malibu Veterans Day celebration for the past 21 years, and she's our immediate past president. Ignacio Rodriguez coaches soccer at Malibu High. Bianca, who works tirelessly on behalf of the homeless and other causes, and Kelly Pesses, our most passionate emissary. Stephen Udoff is our president, and he runs our Adopt a Highway group. So you see, that's just a few of our board of directors. We have 14, and trust me, they're all brilliant, caring, and devoted to the community. Very best part of running the Malibu Association of Realtors is we all get to say yes a lot. Yes, we can help. Yes, we would love to donate. Yes, we'll hire an intern. Yes, we would love to share your event with our members, Heidi. A big yes whenever we can help students and education. And yes, we love to fight the Coastal Commission. Yes, we clean up PCH. We love to help local businesses. We even help fire and disaster victims with grants made by our members. Yes, we want to do anything that will benefit the community we serve. My favorite quote, spotted on the wall at Malibu Methodist Nursery School many years ago, is one person's success is everyone's success. In short, if we can help, we will. On behalf of everyone at the Malibu Association of Directors, thank you for the recognition. It means a great deal, and we will all continue to say yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. The Women in Health Award is designed to honor those who provide the highest quality of care in the medical field and whose innovative work within the industry contributes towards an advancement of patient care in an ever-expanding and demanding sector. Our next awardee, so busy keeping Malibu and our surrounding communities healthy that we are grateful she was able to make it today to receive the honor. Dr. Lisa Benya is a board-certified internal medicine specialist and addiction specialist with over 26 years of experience in the field. She is affiliated with 3 prestigious hospitals in the area and is an active member of the American Osteopathic Association, as well as the Malibu Medical Group. The Malibu community is lucky Dr. Benya is taking care of us. She expertly utilizes the many tools and strategies she has learned over the years to ensure her patients get the help and care they need, intertwining both Eastern and Western medical techniques to ensure her many patients receive the most extensive care possible. Whether it be for urgent care, chronic disease, pain management, drug and/or alcohol addiction, or mental health disorders, Dr. Lisa Benya is ready and eager to provide health care to keep Malibu safe and healthy. And a special thank you to Dr. Benya for the IV after a long karaoke. For these reasons, we present the Women in Health Award to Dr. Lisa Benya.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank you guys so much for this award. It really means the world after this extremely difficult year, I think, that we've all gone through. I do want to start by saying I have a team of people behind me, and it would definitely take more than the 3 minutes to name them all. But you know, really starting with the city, and the support from the city that they gave us this year, the support from my team, which from nurses to medical assistants to COVID testers, we really are so grateful to be able to help the community. And when I kind of look back at the theme, I think the initial was evolving for success. I think it just reminds me like we all have the ability to adapt and change kind of based on our life circumstances or what happens to us. And we have all been challenged so much between the fires in 2019 and then COVID. So I think that everybody here that's won an award has gone above and beyond. So congrats to everybody. We now know that no matter what we face, together, our human spirit really has a strength to persevere. Just quickly in my life, I wanted to just give credit to, we're talking about women and give credit to my mom, who was a lot of the reason why probably I am as crazy as I am. Also both my parents, but my father was an immigrant from Slovakia and was really poor, but my mother was actually born on an Indian reservation and actually had to be cast out and adopted out of the reservation because her father was not Indian. She faced a ton of challenges throughout her life, and I continually saw what she did to make sure that us, my sisters and brothers and I had a great life. So I feel like seeing that, and then also seeing kind of what all of the rest of the women that have won these awards do, it's really, it's amazing that I'm able to jump in and kind of help when I can. The work ethic and grit and all of that they taught me allowed me to earn my medical degree. Then I moved from a small town in Ohio about 20 years ago to big, bad, scary LA, but ended up in Malibu, which I was so lucky. So I've been able to really pursue my dream, owning my medical practice, and hoping to really help the world get healthy and stay healthy. And Malibu's been the most amazing community to work with. And I can't wait for the future to keep going. But I'll tell you, this recent pandemic, I think we're all ready for a little bit of a break on the health department. Again, the Malibu, the surrounding communities with COVID, with the fires, we've all had so much trauma. We've had to see people losing loved ones and losing homes and losing finances. It's just been awful. So, I feel lucky I was able to have the upbringing I had and been surrounded and still surrounded by such strong people every day in Malibu. It shows me that you just have to dig in. And when you're faced with a challenge, you really have to stand strong, kind of think as clearly as you can, and then surround yourself with experts. And I think that, as you can see from all the award winners, that's what we all have done. We don't do what we do in a vacuum, and it's really the people that we surround ourselves with that help us get to where we want. And you just have to draw on your faith and your hope and all the strength that we have together as a team. And we've gone to work. We have made sure that the town is as protected as possible from COVID and any health crisis that might come in the future. So I'm super grateful to win the award. I'm super grateful to be a part of the Malibu community and to be able to care for everybody's health. And I want you guys to know I'm always here for you. Honestly, my pager and my phone are never off. So if I can help in any way, shape, or form, obviously first related to COVID and opening safely for the schools and the businesses, we're here for you. But obviously in the future, anything we can do, we're here. And I hope we don't have another pandemic. Let's just end it with that. And thanks for everything, you guys.
Thank you, Dr. Benya. Our next presenter is Ms. Heidi Bernard. Heidi is the Executive Director of the Crest Associates Program at Pepperdine University, which engages support for Pepperdine students and the university. She has worked in development with Pepperdine for over 34 years and oversees the CREST Advisory Board, working with leaders from Malibu and surrounding communities in support of the university. Heidi has supported multiple Malibu community organizations, nonprofits, businesses, and individuals with her time, talents, and effort. Heidi has sat on the Malibu Chamber of Commerce as chair, executive board member, and co-chair of the ambassador committees. She has chaired the Arts Festival Committee for the Malibu Chamber for multiple years and received the Lifetime Legacy Award at our first annual Women in Leadership Awards. She loves to support young people through mentorship and educational opportunities in the community and at Pepperdine. She is a California native, and while she's a Calabasas resident, she claims Malibu as her community. I see Heidi as a personal mentor of mine, and I'm grateful for her continued support of me, a non-Pepperdine alum, but nobody's perfect. Welcome, Heidi Bernard.
Great. Thank you so much, Ian. You're definitely an honorary wave, so I appreciate that. I'm so happy to add my note of congratulations to each of the awardees today. I've known a lot of you, and I've learned new things about each of you who I did not know, and just really appreciate from my heart all that you do for the community and beyond Malibu as well. It is my extreme pleasure today to introduce a young woman to you who's representative of our future. And I've had the pleasure to watch her evolve and work through her success at Pepperdine. And it's become a pleasure to know her and work with her through the Pepperdine Ambassador Council. Adya Kumar is from Seattle, Washington. She is currently a senior accounting major at Pepperdine. Post-graduation, she already has a job and she'll be working in auditing at Moss Adams, which is a financial services firm in Seattle. She is currently serving as our CREST ambassador to our Pepperdine Ambassador Council and our CREST board, and loves to serve the Malibu community. Welcome, Adya.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction, Heidi. I'm super excited to be here. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to be talking a little bit about just evolving for success and my own personal journey and just kind of what that means to me. So amidst a time of a lot of uncertainty and confusion, I think that one thing really remains clear, and that's that life still goes on. And so I think, the means by which it continues might be really unknown or foreign, but regardless, it does continue. So being able to adapt to these changing circumstances and evolve as time goes on is very beneficial, not only to yourself, but also to others around you. As a graduating senior, kind of looking back on my own experience over the past 4 years, I can really see my own growth and evolution, and I can really pinpoint how these changes have benefited me and contributed to my success. I think that cultivating a mentality and a work ethic that leads to success is very different for each person, but I feel that there are a few key core components that have contributed to my own adaptability. And for me, that's really my community, my tight-knit group, and then my self-care. And I think these are two very important and consistent things for me, but they're also two things that have definitely shifted, changed, and evolved over the years. When I first came to Pepperdine, I was very eager and excited to jump right in and get started. And I kind of had this mentality of everything so far, just kind of being all right. I think just with school and growing up so far, there hadn't seemed to be too many challenges, and I feel the familiarity and the routine of home kind of had cradled my growth, and my existing community kind of acted as this safety net for any challenges or mistakes that had come up. And so it kind of made everything up to that point or any challenges seem almost trivial. So when I came to Pepperdine, especially in that first year, I just felt so overwhelmed and oftentimes very ill-equipped to handle these new experiences and some of these challenges that were arising. And I think at that point, my community and my self-care was so different. I was so reliant on my parents, and I was so reliant on my childhood friends at home. And, growing up, I had played basketball, and I would go on runs and I would read, and that was my self-care. And I had these existing and so far effective community and self-care, but it seemed that it wasn't as effective in that moment. In that time, I felt so disconnected from my usual routine and from the familiar aspects of my lifestyle. But however, that quickly kind of shifted as the first year went by. I was really able to form a very tight-knit community at Pepperdine, and this consisted of lots of new friends and my professors and my roommate, and I had slowly started to kind of like adapt and change. And my self-care became like a little different. I started to go to the Great Pilates in Malibu, and I started to go to the beach more and like hammock, and these things kind of became my new outlets, and the Pepperdine community became my new, tight-knit group. And now this year, like in the wake of everything happening, again, there was this like evolution and change. Like I felt so many things shifting. I felt like my friend group was shifting. Like we weren't able to go out as much. We had to start finding like other ways to have fun, like going on hikes in the canyon or like painting. And I felt like my space was shifting as well. We had to like shift our college apartment to become not only a place where we could like have fun and rewind, but also a place where, my roommate and I could have productive class times, where we could have meetings and where we could have study sessions. And I really had to make this like conscious effort to continue like on the trajectory that I was on amidst the like shifting environment. But now, like looking back this year as graduation slowly approaches, I realized that this new routine and this new sense of normality have contributed to it really being like overall another great year. I think overall, all of these experiences have helped me realize that while things are consistently changing, your evolution and growth can really be centered around consistent aspects of your life, like your own tight-knit community and self-care. And this has really helped me to continue to be successful in my endeavors. And it's something that I think can help all women and even some men to be successful as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Adia. At this time, I welcome the children of the late Andy Cohen, Kevin and Chaya Cohen.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm Chaya Cohen and I'm here with my brother Kevin, and we're the children of our dad, Andy Cohen. And our dad, Andy, had such a passion for helping the city of Malibu. As a resident of Malibu for 25 years, from 1994 until he sadly passed away in 2019, he always wanted to do good for his city. In 2018, he was appointed as the Public Safety Commission's newest member with a big agenda that he was constantly updating. Just a couple months after being appointed, Malibu was devastated by the Woolsey Fire, one of the worst fires in Southern California history, where hundreds of residents lost their homes. Our father was very quick to take action and help the city put on the Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Expo in June of 2019, carefully planning the details out to help our fellow residents prepare for future natural disasters. His other central goal while working for the city was to ensure safety on Pacific Coast Highway with increased measures and police presence, which was displayed in summer of 2019, when PCH had 0 fatalities for the first time in many years. Although our father's time with the city was cut short, he achieved so much when he served as commissioner, and he left an impact on Malibu that will truly last a lifetime.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin and Chaya. As beautifully portrayed, this award was created to celebrate the life of Andy Cohen and his achievements in Malibu's public safety. An example of upstanding moral character, he worked tirelessly to improve the lives of Malibu residents. During his time as a member of the Malibu City's Public Safety Commission, he helped organize, just as Chaya said, increased sheriff patrols in Malibu, resulting in the first summer with 0 fatalities on PCH. He also helped our previous award winner, Lieutenant Jennifer C2, obtain $500,000 in extra law enforcement grants from LA County. This year's recipient is well deserving of this award. Keon Schulman has lived in the Santa Monica Mountains since 1984. In 2013, Keon founded Poison Free Malibu in reaction to reports of mountain lions being poisoned. Poison Free Malibu works at the local city, county, and state levels to educate and promote regulation of pesticides to protect children, pets, wildlife, and the environment. A recent achievement was the passage of State Bill AB 1788, which places a moratorium on the use of certain rodent poisons. As a local, I personally thank you, Keon, for keeping our Malibu wildlife, domesticated animals, locals, and semi-domesticated city council people from safe and danger. Please welcome Keon Schulman.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Barbara, Chamber of Commerce members, for this honorable award. Poison Free Malibu, as was just noted, is dedicated to the preservation of all creatures, from citizens, children, and pets, to the grand mountain lions, delicate butterflies, bees, and ground soil inhabitants. Poison-Free Malibu started back in 2012 when a mountain lion, P25, was found dead on a hiking trail at Point Mugu State Park. The reports noted that rat poison was detected. Upon investigation, we discovered 90% of our local wildlife is being poisoned by pesticides provided by the pest control companies in those plastic boxes that you see around. The list includes the predators that feed upon the rodent population, our owls, the hawks, bobcats, coyotes, and even the mountain lions. And it's still happening. Another mountain lion, P78, was discovered dead with 5 different rat poisons just a couple of months ago. Approximately 10,000 children and 16,000 dogs a year are accidentally exposed to mouse and rat poisons. After understanding the gravity of the situation at hand, we requested the City of Malibu pass a rat poison ban on city-owned property in 2013. We moved forward from there, helping 10 local cities pass similar policies. Even the tiniest invertebrates are suffering. The monarch butterfly numbers have decreased 90% nationwide due to herbicide spraying and loss of habitat. Recently, 25% of our local sea lion population was discovered with cancer associated with the dumping of the toxic DDT off the coast of Palos Verdes decades ago. Pesticides are in the air that we breathe, the water we drink, and the food that we eat, and it is even absorbed through our skin. It is not necessary to use cancer-causing agents, endocrine disruptors, and neurotoxins to control weeds. Idiopathic diseases are on the rise with strong implications of pesticide use. Pesticides have been linked to cancers, Alzheimer's disease, ADHD, autism, and even birth defects. In 2019, Malibu adopted a green, earth-friendly management policy, joining other communities. The policy emphasizes organic enrichment strategies, encourages preventative measures, and bans the use of harmful chemical pesticides on city-owned properties. Your children and pets now can play safely in our city parks. Education and creating policies are the keys to reform. We educate cities, schools, communities, HOAs, give talks, attend fairs, forums concerning the use of pesticides. Recently, we worked, a very proud achievement, with Senator Henry Cern and Assemblymember Richard Bloom to pass 1788. This state moratorium stops the use of 4 rat poisons throughout all of California. That took 4 years with a great amount of effort, and thankfully, the Animal Legal Defense Fund came to our rescue and provided us a lobbyist on the 4th try. We would like to share this award with other superwomen of our community who worked for years joining our vision of creating a poison-free Malibu. June Lukes, Linda Gibbs, Wendy Dunn, Ann Buxey, Pat Healy. This group of women were the foundation to move forward a poison-free Malibu. Also our newspaper writers, Ann Sobel, Susan Goodeman, Jimmy Talal, and Barbara Burke alerted the community about the severity of the poisoning of our wildlife and consistently educated the community. All of these great women are the stepping stones of a poison-free world, with great thanks to all of them. Aside, how did we lose connection with where we think it's okay to poison our environment, our wildlife, our food, and our entire world? How can we heal? We desperately need education to help people see themselves as part of a larger ecosystem. We have the perfect opportunity to recognize here in Malibu, as we are blessed with the ocean on one side and the Santa Monica Range just behind us. I urge you to take a walk in nature, reconnect with plants and animals that can transform our lives and save theirs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kian. The Women Breaking Barriers Award recognizes a woman who has utilized her position, stature, expertise, and influence to break down barriers and affect positive change in her profession, industry, or enterprise. Since 2016, Dr. Catherine E. Jeffrey has served as superintendent and president of Santa Monica College. An Oklahoma native with 4 decades of distinct higher education experience, Dr. Jeffrey's highly respected career includes successful leadership roles as college CEO at Sacramento City College and Hennepin Technical College in Minnesota, 15 years as a college counselor, and 10 years as an adjunct music professor teaching piano, theory, and music literature. Her favorite part of her career has been knowing that she is contributing meaningfully to strengthening communities through the power of education and personal growth and discovery. As an SMC alum myself, got my banner. I am proud to know Dr. Jeffrey is representing me and my SMC family in the strongest possible way. Dr. Jeffrey's passion for her students and community makes our entire community special. At Malibu High, the running joke was that SMC was essentially Malibu High with cigarettes. That couldn't be farther from the truth. SMC provided the foundational tools for me to become a diligent, prepared, and focused learner. I would not be who I am today without those amazing years, and I publicly wear my SMC education as a badge of honor. It fills me with joy that SMC will have a satellite campus here in my hometown. Dr. Jeffrey, I treasure each interaction with you, and if I continue to add platitudes or exhibit any additional hyperbole, I may get offered a job working at Merriam-Webster. Dr. Jeffrey, please accept this award.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning, everyone attending today's recognition event hosted by the Malibu Chamber of Commerce. Barbara Brudelin was a steady presence at the Malibu Chamber breakfasts over the last several years, and that is where I first met her. She would always greet the arrivals with a smile and make us feel so much a part of the event, even before we were seated at our tables. I have always felt genuinely welcomed by Barbara. I have genuinely felt welcomed at chamber events, and I have genuinely felt welcomed in the Malibu community overall. As the superintendent president of Santa Monica College and as the new kid on the block in spring of 2016, when the SMC Malibu Center was in the final stages of the approval process, I became aware of the role that I would play in helping to move the Malibu Center toward gaining the needed support and approval, not only of the Malibu City Council, the California Coastal Commission, with whom I had never had any interaction, the support of the LA County supervisors, with a shout out to Sheila Kuehl and her office for the ways in which they really helped move the project along. I became involved with the partners in the development of the center, all of the partners who were actually going to be co-located at the site, the sheriffs, the fire department, the cornucopia farmers market, and of course, I became aware of the relationship I would need to build with the residents and taxpayers of the city of Malibu. Over the past years, I've met with city officials, and granted, the past years is a small span of time, just 5 years. But I've met with city officials, I've been invited into the homes of residents, I have patronized local businesses, and in the aftermath of the Woolsey fire that devastated parts of the city of Malibu, I cheered SMC's foundation efforts to support the families impacted by this tragedy when the foundation hosted a weekend of caring that was dedicated to Malibu families who had lost treasured photos in the fire, things, their belongings, their clothes. Our cosmetology department, photography faculty and students and members of our foundation raised money to give special awards to students to help them continue their education. And that weekend that was spent with the families, including their pets, that they were able to bring, and we helped to recreate at least one part of their memories by taking photos of the family. Our cosmetology department did their hair. We had people who provided clothing to help dress people for the day. And our students got so much out of this and were so touched by the way the family seemed to appreciate that outreach of care. It seemed like a very, very small thing, but when we looked back at some of the videos that were shot that day of the families, and the way people looked when they arrived, and the way people looked in the photos that were taken of the family together in a moment that made them feel whole again, even if just for that moment. It still touches me when I think about it. But I want you to know that I see my connection to Malibu not just related to my role as the CEO of Santa Monica College. I truly enjoy spending time in such a beautiful place. How could I not? When I learned that the Malibu Chamber of Commerce wanted to honor me with one of the Chamber's 2021 Women Leadership Awards, I, like others have mentioned today, initially questioned their decision. I don't live in Malibu. In reflection and in a conversation that I had with Ian, I started to realize how much I have been engaged with the city of Malibu. And this award touches me deeply. The award recognizes not only appreciation of Santa Monica College, but it considers the road that I personally traveled in my career to reach a level of significant responsibility, influence, and opportunity that most who knew me in the early stages of my life, and most people who would even see me now just as an average person walking on the street, would not expect that I would have the duties that drive my activities on a daily basis. I realized that I have traveled quite a road in my career to reach this level of opportunity. And I have faced and met head on all of these challenges that I found along the way. And I have persevered and I have excelled. I am traveling a path of uncertainty right now, along with all of you during this COVID pandemic, a road that has caused all of us to live and work much differently. I find myself connected to Malibu, a wonderful community where I never expected to feel so comfortable, and a place that I never expected to embrace me the way that it has. I want to say thank you for the way in which you have partnered with Santa Monica College. I want to say thank you for the way you have welcomed me, not only as a leader for SMC, but as a person when I engage the Malibu community. And I want to acknowledge one person in particular who is no longer with us, Carol Moss, a resident of Malibu. I met at my very first city council meeting. She was with her daughter. And she saw me with my niece as we were leaving the event. And she said to me, she said to her daughter, "That's the new president of Santa Monica College. She's not what I expected." And initially I thought, oh my gosh, what does she mean by that? A few days later, she contacted me, and she didn't know I had overheard her, but she contacted me and she said, "I want to say welcome to you. I want you to know that I'm excited about the leadership that you will bring to SMC and the way you will connect with our community. And I know your job will be filled with a range of heavy responsibilities, but I think you might need a place to have as a getaway. And I want you to know my door is always open to you, and you are invited and will be welcome anytime to come to my home for a weekend staycation and I will close the door and not let anyone bother you. You will have peace. And that was my introduction to Malibu and the generosity and kindness that you extend to newcomers. So thank you so much for this award. Thank you for this recognition, and thank you for the support that you continue to give to Santa Monica College.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jeffrey. The Lifetime Legacy Award recognizes a woman who has demonstrated superior leadership over several years and who has a significant track record of long-term achievements and accomplishments in business, industry, and enterprise that must be acknowledged for what it is, a legacy. And if I do this next segment with just one sip of water, Barbara promised me a prize, so I'm going to take one now. The recipient of this award, I'm not taking two. The recipient of this award is a 45-year Malibu resident, a spouse of 56 years, mother of 3 sons, Mark, Clayton, and Anthony, with 3 daughters in love, Shelly, Kitty, and Andrea, 3 grandchildren, Lana, Griff, and Annika. She is an entrepreneur, advertising and marketing professional, publisher of the Malibu Times Magazine, and Capital Weekly. She's the founding partner of the York Group. She's the founding member of the Malibu Jewish Community Center and Synagogue and current board secretary, the founding member and current treasurer of the Malibu Film Society, founding member and current board chair of the Malibu Dolphin Charitable Foundation, past president of the Medical Marketing Association, past president of the Malibu Rotary Club, past board member of the Malibu Chamber of Commerce, and past board member of the Malibu La Costa Beach and Tennis Club. What a legacy. Please join me by clapping and cheering obnoxiously in your home or workspace and awarding the Lifetime Legacy Award to Karen Portugal York.
Unmuted. Thank you. A little preface to my presentation, which I hope isn't too long. One, I want to second the motion about acknowledging Carol Moss and her contributions to Malibu as a woman of inspiration to everyone. So thank you for your articulate and your beautiful story about her, because it so encapsulates this marvelous person who we're going to miss so much. I also wanted to say, as part of my preface, how pleased I am to be amongst this group of phenomenal people, not only because you're phenomenal people of achievement, but being here today reminds me of why I love Malibu. And it's been so difficult these past few months, even a little longer than that, to see some of the discord and disrespect that has poisoned our public dialogue. And I really love, and I tell people all the time, we're not like that. Malibu's not like that. Malibu's a loving, supportive community of fabulous people. You have, this experience today has reminded me and sort of supported my efforts in communicating to the world what a exceptional community we are, full of exceptional women. So with that, I'll just start my little speech. So thank you very much for this honor. I was very surprised and humbled when Barbara and Ian informed me that I was going to get this award. Humbled for lots of reasons. I want to thank you all, and I also want to take this opportunity, not at the end, but at the beginning, to thank my dear husband, Arnold York, who has been my constant loving and supportive companion and my partner in life and in business and in parenting. Perhaps having the good luck and good judgment to marry him was truly my greatest lifetime achievement. Thank you. Thank you to the many generous, intelligent, highly skilled and creative men, and particularly women, who've worked alongside me over the years as my partners, my child care partners, my employees, my colleagues, my advisors, my clients, and my friends, who I could never have done anything without. Thank you. Upon learning that I was to receive this award, my first response was to say thank you, but no thank you. I'm not good at receiving. I think I share that amongst all of the women here today. I think the hardest thing we ever have to do is to receive. We're pretty good givers, but receivers, we don't do that too well. So anyway, I'm thinking, okay, thanks, but no thanks. And besides that, you were telling this was like going to be a lifetime achievement award. And I said, hey, no, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. I still have lots to achieve. So I humbly accept the award as a symbol of your acknowledgement of what I've achieved so far. Not done yet. Then I got to thinking about the whole idea of this award, and got to thinking that I've been an award recipient before, but I've also been a presenter of awards. And what was I going to do with this award aside from put it on a shelf somewhere? Okay, what was I going to use this opportunity for? And I got to thinking that I was going to think not only about the positive achievements that you are honoring me for, or that have happened in my lifetime, I wanted to think about some of the negative achievements as well, some of the mistakes that I have made along the way. Of course, I'm proud of my successes and good fortune that I've enjoyed so far. I've worked hard to be the best wife, mom, mother, friend, businesswoman, etc. that I could be. That's who I am, and these are those successes. But achievements, and they provide me with a great deal of satisfaction. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the not so positive achievements, what some people call failures, although I have been informed in my reading that if you're an entrepreneur and you never have a failure. A study's been done about talking to entrepreneurs about their life experiences and how they grew their business and the things that they did well and the things that they didn't do well. And one of the interesting results of this study is the word failure was never used. Oh, maybe glitches, maybe this happened or that happened, but never the word failure. So I don't want to really talk about my mistakes and missteps as failures. I'd rather think of them as achievements, because those are the achievements that have informed my success. In business, and after all, this is a Chamber of Commerce event, failure might translate to financial loss, opportunity loss, errors in judgment, missteps, mistakes in day-to-day operations, poor planning, inefficiencies, misunderstandings, partnership disasters. But I would invite you to add this also to my list of achievements, Ian. However, looking back, I've learned a lot more from my failures than I've learned from my successes. And I've learned to appreciate this learning as it has informed my successes, and I have come to honor them as well. Little did I know growing up in the San Fernando Valley, a Valley girl, with almost no career ambitions other than to be the best wife and homemaker that I could be, maybe a social worker, a teacher, or an occupational therapist in my spare time when I was busy with family issues, that I would evolve into a serial business and community entrepreneur, a real risk taker, confronting my new challenges and possibilities, mastering my new skills along the way, and facing new and often scary problems, trying to find solutions, some which worked and some which didn't, but all of which are now woven into the fabric of my legacy and reflect whatever I've achieved in my efforts to be a valuable citizen worthy of the award you're giving me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Bravo. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you, members of the audience and award winners. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you to International Protective Services, Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue, Pepperdine University, and Wells Fargo for making this event happen. Thank you, Sean, Barbara, Danielle, Heidi, Beth, Kayla, and the Chamber Board for making so many great selections. Thank you to my mom and sisters for keeping me apprised of the feminine perspective, and a special thank you to my wife of 4 years, Bree, for all you do, including bringing Luna into our lives. She is pure joy and a future woman leader. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everybody. And if you were an awardee, speaker, or panelist at this event, we appreciate you so much. And please hang on a little bit so we can take a virtual group photo. Thank you.
A virtual group photo. I love that.